Traders, it's your boy Mike from CapitalHillFX, and in this video, we're going to be recapping the profitable week that we had this past week with my premium members. Over 7% profit in 3 different trades, and I'm going to go over all the different trading setups, how we managed it, and how it ended up panning out. And then you already know we're going to go into the weekly market analysis, going over pairs that could potentially play out. So first things first, we had a buy order on Euro NZD that resulted in 0.1% loss, near break even, but we could call it a small loss. And we're going to go over the trading setup right now. And if you don't know my trading system by now, I just identify significant daily horizontal levels and I buy at support and I sell at resistance. That's it. We can see in this particular instance, we had a break and retest of this significant horizontal level. We can see that we have clear intent with direction on the daily time frame. Whenever price is coming to this significant horizontal level, we clearly have an impulse towards the upside or towards the downside. That's probably the main component that I look for when outlining support or resistance levels. Do we have clear intent with direction? Because if we have clear intent with direction away from a zone, that's giving us a good idea that the next time that price does come to that zone, we could have an impulsive move. So we could see on the daily time frame, this candle closed past the zone, and I was just waiting for price to come and retrace back to the zone and treat it as support. We're going down to the hourly time frame, which is my execution time frame, the hourly time frame, and we could see that we had a shallow retest of the zone. And what I mean by a shallow retest is we didn't fully test the zone. We didn't fully push into the zone and then show that price action. We just tested the top half of the zone, which is barely testing it in my subjective opinion. I wait for price to push deep into the zone before identifying that price action. And we could see that we were testing it, trying to wipe out the previous highs, but then we ended up pushing completely into the zone and then printing a lot of bullish price action. Remember, around significant horizontal support zones, we want to see bottom heavy wicks in the position of the real body closing near the top of the candle. And I like to look for multiple rejections away. So we could see we had this initial doji, but we could see we had a very bottom heavy wick. Even though the position of the body is near the middle of the candle, it's still very significant, showing us that there's a battle between the bears and the bulls on this exact point in the chart. Then we could see the next preceding candles were doji candles, very indecisive candles, but then we led with a very nice bullish candle with the position of the real body closing near the top of the candle and a bottom heavy wick. That's what actually triggered the entry. Multiple rejections trying to wipe out the previous lows, but we're left with wicks, and the position of the real body finally closed near the top of the candle in a nice bullish candle. That's what ended up triggering my entry. And I had my take profit near the previous highs and the stop loss right below this previous wick. So it seemed pretty good. It seemed like a logical entry, just a typical break and retest of this significant horizontal level, and the price action seemed pretty significant. So this is how it ended up panning out. And this, I believe, was on my phone that I ended up screenshotting it on. But just looking at the candles really quickly, we could see that we ended up entering on this candle. And then we could see the price action that proceeded after we entered was not ideal, right? We had this very top heavy wick. Price tried to wipe out these highs, failed, ended up presenting a nice bearish candle. And then once we actually tried to wipe out the highs yet again, we were left with a very top heavy wick. And this gave me indication that price did not have enough strength towards the upside to actually wipe out these previous highs. So that's when I ended up deciding to close out of this trade, and I updated my premium members. So because the price action wasn't convincing me that we were going to end up bouncing here as support, I ended up exiting this trade. And we can actually go back to the charts and see how this trade would have ended up panning out, which I highly recommend most of you doing. If you exit a trade very early just because you're very skeptical where price is going to head, why don't you go back a couple hours or a couple days after and see how the trade would have ended up panning out? It gives you valuable lessons, and it gives you valuable insight that you could use for the future. So you could see that we ended up placing the buy order right here. And we could see we ended up having a very steep push towards the downside that would have ended up stopping us out of this trade. And then actually coming back to take profit. These are always the worst trades, where you end up getting stopped out, but then it goes in the original direction that you anticipated. So this would have been definitely a knee slapper of like, damn, I'm so pissed that I ended up getting stopped out. But we avoided that, right? We avoided a stop out by just analyzing the price action objectively and keeping our emotions to the side. That is the best way to trade the markets. Trade data and statistical probability, not emotions, hopes, and feelings. That's why I say almost on a day-to-day basis. So we ended up mitigating risk on Euro NZD by just analyzing the price action and making sure that we were exiting around break even. So we learned a very valuable lesson on Euro NZD. Make sure that you're objectively analyzing the price action when you are entering your positions, because if the price action is not showing you that price is going to go towards the upside or towards the downside, then why are you staying in the trade? Are you just staying there just because you think and you hope it's going to go in your original direction? I need you to objectively analyze the price action and ask yourself, does it look like price is going to head in my direction? If not, you should probably head out of the trade. So anyway, that was Euro NZD. Now we're going to go into the colossal winner on GBP NZD. So this was the breadwinner. And remember, I did risk 2% on this trade. So usually I'm risking 1%, but because I was down a little and I was very, very confident about this trading setup, and I'll get into it in a minute, I ended up risking 2%. And that's why I ended up gaining 5% on this trade. Let's take a look. So we can see on the daily time frame, we can see we have a super clear resistance level where price has interacted with in the past very strongly as resistance. Every time we've come to the zone, it seems like we've wicked away. And remember what I said, that clear intent with direction. Most of the times that we've actually pushed into the zone, we've had clear intent with direction towards the downside. So now we're going to go into the execution time frame, which is the hourly time frame. And this is why I was so confident about this trade. Look at the price action. This is the exact price action that I want to see around significant daily resistance levels. Top heavy wicks, position of the real body closing near the bottom of the candle. And we do have sort of a strong real body, right? Now you'll see right off the bat, a clear difference between this trading setup and the Euro NZD. First things first, we have a hedge order instead of a stop loss. So with this trading order, I wanted to put a hedge order instead of a stop loss, just because the next zone was very clear to me. So if we did end up pushing towards the upside, I would have taken profits somewhere around this significant daily zone. And then I would have ended up placing another sell and then taken price back towards the downside and close this one around break even or a smaller loss and close this other sell at a profit. Again, if you don't know what hedging is or how to utilize hedge orders, make sure to go to my previous YouTube video. I think it goes over everything risk management and everything like that. It's very, very important if you want to utilize hedging. But I ended up placing a hedge order above the zone, and we can see the price action was just super clear. So the reason the price action was so significant was because every time we tried to wipe out the previous highs, we were left with bearish wicks and bearish candle closures. That's it. Every time we tried to wipe out these previous highs, we failed to wipe it out, and we just put in these wicks. So that's why I ended up actually placing a sell, especially after. So I actually wasn't present for this candle closure, but once I saw the open of this bullish candle closure, I was like, you know what? This is even a better entry than what I would have gotten right here. So I ended up placing a sell right away. And we could see how it ended up panning out. So we ended up having a large spike towards the upside, almost triggered our hedge, but just barely missed it. And then we ended up pushing way towards the downside. We had that nice bearish market structure, nice bearish candle closures. Look at the bearish impulsive candles that we had. Like we had this strong volatile candle. And then after that, we just had nice bearish impulsive candles and then bullish retracements, bearish impulsive candles, bullish retracements, bearish impulsive candles. And I ended up closing around this significant horizontal level. If we wanted to go back on the daily time frame, this was a sort of horizontal level. On the 12-hour, more of a 4-hour time frame. And it ended up resulting in a almost 5% gain. So this was around a 2.5 risk to reward ratio, which is awesome. On GBP NZD. This was a big, big winner for the month. And then last but not least, we placed a buy on GBP JPY. So let's take a look on GBP JPY. So we gained 2% on this. So on the daily time frame, we could see we sort of have a break and retest of this significant horizontal level, just a significant structure in the market that was treated as resistance in the past, broke through it, and now it looks like we could be treating it as support. We're going to go down to the hourly time frame and see the price action that was developing. We could see that I did outline a smaller structured zone on the hourly time frame because I think it's very important if you're trying to trade off of daily horizontal levels that you scope down to the hourly time frame and see where price is actually reacting with and mark that zone up precisely. And that's exactly what we did on GBP JPY. We could see on the hourly time frame we did treat this exact zone as resistance, and I was just waiting to see if we could test it now as support. And we could see right when we actually pushed into this zone, we had a beautiful bottom heavy wick. And we can see the preceding candle, we are pushing into drawdown when I actually took this screenshot. But we just had a beautiful bottom heavy wick that showed that price tried to wipe out these previous lows. But what were we left with? A bottom heavy wick and just a clear position of the real body closing near the top of the candle. So that's what actually triggered my entry. And then we could just look at the what ended up panning out. Sort of like GBP NZD, we almost got stopped out of this trade. It was beautiful that I placed my stop loss. I gave my stop loss a little bit more room to breathe, but we could see that we almost got stopped out, like literally by a pip or two. And then price actually reversed in the original direction. So the only lesson that I would have taken out of this trade was holding the trade longer, just because we could see I ended up exiting right around here, but there was no clear reason why I should have exited here, right? So this is the big lesson. Even off of wins, we could get lessons, right? Hold the trade for a longer extended period of time if there's nothing technical analysis wise swaying us in another direction or another sentiment. So I ended up getting 2% on this trade, but like I said, hold trade for more profits. Don't take out due to emotions. And looking at other lessons, great trade, way to read the price action around the zone and execute. And for almost the break even, great exit, way to analyze the price action, exit the trade objectively. So like I said, we were up near 7% for this past week with my premium members. And we can see, even looking back in previous trades, a lot of people may be demoralized or get very, very hesitant for trading after this long losing streak. I like to think of myself as a very transparent and realistic trader when it comes to providing insights to the markets. And this is a very good example of it, right? We had like a 7 trade losing streak, right? But we could see right after this losing streak, we had a beautiful winner and then another beautiful winner to bounce right back. This is what's going to happen in your trading journey. You're going to occur losses and you're going to occur a losing streak, but it's very important to just stick to your data and not worry about the emotional tension that's building up in your heart or your brain, because your emotions, hopes, and feelings are going to drive you to make bad trading decisions. Even off of these losses, you'll start to like build up like, oh my gosh, I need to over leverage. Oh my gosh, no stop loss. Oh my God, I need to place a trade, quantity, not quality. And it's very important to keep just looking back at your trading data and see, okay, I lost 6 or 7 trades in previous data, but over an extended period of time, I was still profitable. That's what you need to look at. Not the emotions, not the hopes, not the feelings. Just look at the objective data. And we can see right here, I did have like a 7 trade losing streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was a 6 trade losing streak, right? But still, we had a lot of small losers. And we didn't get emotional. We just trade the valid trading setups that we execute on a week-to-week basis. And we controlled risk throughout the whole entire process. It's very important to know that you are going to incur losses as a trader. Just make sure that you're tabling the emotions and you are executing on that statistical data. So now let's go into the analysis, right? I talked about recapping the trades and everything like that. Hopefully we gained valuable lessons from it. Now let's go into the high probable setup. So starting off on NZD USD, we're going to start off on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame on NZD USD, we can see we are floating around a significant horizontal level. We can see that this level has been interacted with as support and resistance in the past, and we can see most recently this daily candle is still respecting this significant support zone. On the hourly time frame, you already know what I'm going to be waiting for: bullish price action to form around the significant horizontal level, and we can see we're already forming a lot of bullish price action. We dug very deep into this zone, and what ended up happening? We had a nice little bullish bounce, and then what ended up happening? We tried to wipe out these previous lows. Instead of wiping out the previous low, we actually formed a higher low and we put in another bullish impulsive candle. Now it looks like price is also forming a lot of bottom heavy wicks, and it could look like the position of this real body closes near the top of the candle, giving us good indication that we could have a lot of buyers present around this significant horizontal level. I will be waiting for more bullish price action to form around this significant horizontal level before I look for potential upside movement on NZD USD. Let's switch to NZD Canadian dollars, of course, going to the daily time frame. We can see we are around this significant horizontal level. This is probably better on the weekly time frame. I've been waiting a while for price to come to the significant horizontal level. We're on the weekly time frame right now, using that top-down analysis approach, starting off on those higher time frames, then working our way down to that execution time frame. We can see that we treated this zone as support and resistance in the past. Now we're coming down to the hourly time frame, and we're just trying to identify some type of bullish price action. We can see we pushed really deep into the zone, had this nice bullish impulsive candle, and now it looks like we're starting to proceed with some bottom heavy wicks and some nice bullish candle closures, position of the body closing near the bottom of the candle. I'm going to wait for more bullish candle closures, maybe another retest of the previous lows, just because if we go back to the daily time frame, the last time that we interacted with this zone as resistance was back late of last year of November of 2022. But let's see the last time we treated it as support. It was way back of last year, literally a year ago. February 1st of 2022 is the last time we interacted with this zone as support. So that's why it's very important. We haven't interacted with this zone in a year. So it's very important that when we scope down to the hourly time frame, we're waiting and confirming that we're actually going to treat this as support. We're not entering after one candle. We want multiple candles confirming that we're going to treat this as support. And for right now, it looks like we could potentially still treat this as support. So I'm waiting for more bullish candle closures like this one to actually enter on. Next on Euro AUD, going on the daily time frame. And I don't want to go over all the trading setups just because I provide all of my trading setups with my premium members, and I keep some exclusive trading setups just for the premium members. So that's why I don't want to go over all of them, but I will give you guys a nice little sneak peek. Looking at Euro AUD on the daily time frame, we can see we're around a significant daily resistance level. We can see we push really deep into this zone, but every time that we push really deep into this zone, we can see that we did have some type of reaction towards the downside, clear intent with direction. And most times the daily time frame, this candle leaves a nice little top heavy wick. So I'm going to be waiting to see how the price action forms on the hourly time frame. We can see that we're on the hourly time frame. We are beginning to form very top heavy wicks, and it looks like we are beginning to form a nice little bear candle. So I'm going to be waiting for more bearish price action, more bearish strength towards the downside before looking for that downside movement. And last but not least, I'm going to go into the trade that I'm currently in right now. So if you're maybe you're watching this YouTube video on Monday afternoon, then maybe you could potentially enter this trade. But if you're watching it 2, 3, 4 days after, then you're probably too late. Maybe I won it or maybe I lost it. But let's go on the daily time frame. We can just see that we have a super clear daily support zone that price has interacted with in the past as support. And we can see when price actually pushed into the zone, we had a nice little bullish bounce towards the upside. We're going to go down to the hourly time frame and see the hourly price action that ended up playing out. We can see once we actually pushed into the zone, we had a nice bearish wick with the position of the body closing near the top of the candle. Then what ended up happening? Price pushed again, tried to wipe out the previous lows. What ended up happening? Nice strong bearish wick, position of the body near the top of the candle. That's what we see around these significant daily support zones. We see those bottom heavy wicks and the position of the body closing near the top of the candle. Right now we can see that we're floating around entry, but it will be very interesting to see how the next couple candles play out to see if we should exit or stay in this position. So hopefully this video helped you get a better idea of why I place the trades that I do, executing on those high probable setups and gaining lessons from our winners and even our losers, right? So make sure that you gain some valuable insights from the trades that I placed this past week with my premium members, and make sure to execute on these high probable setups that I just called out in TradingView. I hope you guys learned something from this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.